And you brought up the whole money situation. I feel like if you want to have a career where you have lots and lots of money,
Mhm.
this is not the career for you.
Datang kembali teman-teman. Aku Yulianatan, Indo di Toronto. Kita ada di segmen profesi lagi. Dan kali ini saya punya special guest ya. Very, very special guest. Actually, all of them is special ya. But today maybe extra special. So, as from the title, you probably already read. And then, yeah, we have a teacher today. And tidak usah panjang lebar ya. Langsung saja to our special guest. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, hi, my name is Kimberly Winardi. I am a teacher. I'm Indonesian, but I will be speaking in English because it's easier for me.
Mhm.
But yes, I am a teacher. I'm a new teacher actually. I graduated this past August. Before I became a teacher, I was actually in business. I have my CPA, which is my chartered professional accountant. And yeah, I worked in business and then I switched into teaching afterwards. So,
Okay, and maybe I need to explain a little bit why Kimi more comfortable speaking in English ya.
yes.
Jadi Kimi ini moved to Canada many many months ago ya. Tapi
Yes.
Kimi, you're not born here, right?
No, I was born in Jakarta.
Ya, jadi dia waktu kecil, masih kecil, dia diajak pindah sama orang tuanya ke sini. Jadi seperti pada umumnya anak-anak yang growing up di sini waktu masih kecil atau bahkan yang lahir di sini, of course mereka lebih fluent berbicara, berkomunikasi dalam bahasa Indonesia. Tapi kalau mereka mendengar itu mereka ngerti,
Yeah.
ngerti gitu. Cuma mungkin agak kaku aja kalau ngomong. Jadi harap maklum ya. Okay, so basically you have your CPA already and already in that field for quite a while after you graduate from the uni, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, that's very interesting because as all people know, like how to get the CPA and how to, success in that field is very hard, right? And then I believe you already in that position, like already successful. Why? And oh, okay, when you decided to, oh, I will, change my
Move.
career.
Good question. I've always loved teaching. Um, I did a lot of teaching stuff throughout the years.
Mhm.
I taught in Kumon for many, many years when I was in high school and when I was in university. In university, I was a teacher assistant for different professors in economics and in business. And then I teach Sunday school at church too, which
Mhm.
I love, and I love working with little kids. So I've always loved teaching. I also do love business, but I found that after a couple of years in business, um, I still felt called to go into teaching instead. And then I went to China a couple of years back too, and I started working with kids again, especially kids with special needs. And I like fell in love with that. And so after leaving the public accounting firm, I worked at EY. And then I worked for the government for a couple of years. I decided maybe this is the time for me to move to teaching because I wanted to know if that is really what my passion is. So yeah, that's why I moved.
So you mentioned about the during in the China that time that's only volunteer.
Yeah, I volunteered for like 2 weeks in China, or maybe a little bit less than 2 weeks. And yeah, I loved it. It was my first time really working with children with special needs, and I felt I was called in that direction. So
Okay, so maybe that's your like turning point. Like you mentioned, you keep
yeah,
down in your heart like you love teaching. That's maybe
yeah,
your passion, but you not really like should this career I should to pursue. And then after a while, and then maybe specifically after you
Yeah.
teach in China, and then you should, yeah, this is it maybe.
Yeah. I think China definitely is one of the biggest turning point for me, for
Yeah.
sure.
Why though? Why? Why teaching?
Why teaching? Ooh, that's a good question. I love working with kids. I enjoy, especially working with small kids. One, and then two, I find a lot of value in, um, working with children. There's a lot of value in business too. There's absolutely a reason why business is such a booming profession. But I find that I add more value when I work with the kids. I love seeing like when they understand something and their eyes just light up, and or when they're excited about doing work. I don't know. I just love doing that. And then I think about the future generations and how I want to contribute to that and our future leaders. And one way is definitely teaching and working with the younger generation. So
Wow, 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 wow. I'm so glad that you mentioned like you have that vision, like uh if I can say it in Indonesia, like sometimes kita berpikir ya bahwa
yeah.
uh, waktu kita melakukan sesuatu,
Mm-hmm.
apakah ada value-nya, or just we do it day by day and
Yeah.
then just for money.
Yeah.
I'm not say that money is wrong, because obviously waktu kita kerja kita dapat bayaran, that's what we use
Oh,
untuk,
memang perlu kan?
memang perlu untuk
Duit
our
memang
day.
perlu kan?
Iya,
Mhm.
memang perlu. But sometimes ya, for most people, if they want to be honest ya, kadang-kadang tuh di dalam hati kita tuh ada yang satu hal yang kita rindukan gitu. Waktu kita melakukan sesuatu ada value yang more gitu loh. Dan mungkin ya bagus sekali ya di teaching itu kamu membayangkan bisa membangun satu generasi lagi ya yang
Yeah.
baru, yang mungkin better in education and everything. Okay, and then I'm still interested in the China part.
Yeah.
Does the special needs kids, that's your goal, or it doesn't matter?
Like for my future,
Mhm.
I know for sure I want to work with young kids. I would love to work with special education in that field, but um, if I have that chance, if God puts me in a situation where I have that chance, I will gladly step in that role. But it doesn't really matter for me. I think like more and more as I'm teaching more, I'm going into classroom, meeting kids. I feel like I'm definitely loving this a lot more than what I was doing before. So, but
Okay.
like also, again, you brought up the whole money situation. I feel like if you want to have a career where you have lots and lots of money,
Mhm.
this is not the career for you, for sure.
Hmm. Hmm.
I was slowly, I wouldn't say super successful, but I was good at what I was doing. I was not in a bad position when I was in accounting. I was making quite a lot of money. And if I stayed there, I would have been projected to make even more money. But for me, yes, money is important. Of course, you have to live, you have to buy things. This world is filled with things for yourself you need to live from, right? Like food and all that stuff. But again, I think switching into teaching is not because I wanted more money. It's because I wanted to add more value. I wanted to work with kids, and I wanted to go where I felt like God was calling me rather than making more and more money. So,
Yeah, that's why I really give credit to the teacher. Since I was a mother of the young kids, before I
mm,
maybe doesn't have any idea, right? But since my daughter went to school since
yeah,
kindergarten, and then now she's in grade 1, so I already interactive with at least more than 4 or 6 teachers, right? And then I
Mhm.
can see like how they put their heart, right? And then how hard they have to deal with the young children. So I really admire for the people like you, like not only like willing to be a teacher, but also specifically for the
Mhm.
young children, because even me as a mom, to teach our own kid is so hard, right?
It
And I
is.
and I believe, yeah, someone mommy right now during the pandemic, they agree with me like, oh,
It's young kids are not for everybody, that's for sure. That's why, again, but I think older kids are also like not for everybody. You know what I mean? It different challenges for different age groups. I think that's what it is. So
yeah, yeah, agree. Okay,
yeah.
let's talk about technique, yeah.
Okay.
Like you don't have before, you don't have any background in teaching, right? You
Hmm.
always in the accounting field,
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. And then when you decided to become a teacher,
Hmm.
so what you do?
Mm.
There is any like, of course there gonna be a study, right? So can you sharing to us in the technical part and also in the mentality part?
Yeah. So um, for teachers in here, especially, I can talk about Ontario specifically. Um, Depending on what age group you want to teach, they split it into two.
Okay.
So you can teach the young kids. So that would be kindergarten to grade 6, and then grade 7 till, I guess, high school is a different, well, yeah, a different category, so to say. So if you are thinking of teaching the older kids, so the 7 to grade 12, when you go into your university, your bachelor's, you need to think about what subjects you want to teach to those grades.
I see.
What do I like to teach? Do I like to teach math? Do I like to teach music? Do I like to teach English? Do I like to teach gym? Whatever it is, you need two of those teachables. That's what they call it.
Hmm.
So then afterwards, after your bachelor's degree, you go into a teaching program or teachers college, they call it here, for 2 years. And then in that time, you focus more on those two subjects and I guess how you teach those subjects to that age group. So when you graduate from teachers college, you are, I guess, you are able to teach those two subjects. Now you can add more things afterwards, but those two are your main subjects after you graduate. For me, I wanted to teach the younger kids, and I knew that. The younger kids in Ontario and in Canada, but I'm not 100% with that, sure with that, but you get to teach every single subject in the classroom. As a classroom
Okay.
teacher, you usually are required to teach a broad range of things: math, English, science, everything, because you are the classroom teacher. They see you the whole entire day and you teach everything. And so there's no teachables, like two different things. You teach everything.
Hmm.
But what that means is, what in your undergraduate degree, it doesn't really matter very much what you major in.
Okay.
So when you get to teachers college, you kind of learn a fuller uh, picture of the little different subjects that you teach. So there's that route. So undergraduate degree, and then your teachers college. So bachelor's and then teachers college. And then there are some programs that you go straight into education, and that you still have to do the teachers college portion, but during your undergraduate degree you also learn um, teacher related subjects in your bachelor's degree as well. So
So if according what you explain,
Yeah,
jadi waktu orang di sini mau jadi guru,
yeah,
they always have to graduate from the undergrad first or
correct. Yes.
cannot from the high school and then go to the specific school for teaching?
Bisa sih, tapi masih juga that many years that you are in school is pretty much the same. It's
Okay.
just belajar apa di dalam bachelorsnya. Aku belajar business, tapi kalau mau langsung belajar education, you go straight into education, but you learn different education subjects, but you're also learning other subjects as well. It's just the focus of what your bachelor's degree is.
I see.
Yeah.
So you like it or no, at least you have to spend at least 4 years, yeah, to learn
Your bachelor's.
any major that you interested, and then after that you go to the
Yeah.
what do you call
Teachers college.
teacher college. For the
But
teacher,
yeah, it matters more if you are thinking of teaching more high school and more older kids, because you need to have a certain number of courses in order for you to teach those things in when you're teaching the older kids, because you are pretty much specializing in courses,
I
whereas
see.
in primary school you're not specializing in anything because you have to teach everything.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So for that teacher college, how
Yeah.
long it will take you to graduate?
So before, like a while back, it was only 1 year. So you take your 4 years of bachelor's, and then you do 1 year of teachers college. They changed it, so now it's 2 years of teachers college.
Okay.
The program that I was in, I went to Queen's University for my teachers college. It's a condensed program, which means that even during the summer, I was in school, and it's condensed from 24 months to 16 months. So my
Okay.
program was 16 months.
Okay, 16 months is not that
Uh,
long, also
no.
not that short, yeah?
Yeah, the difference is you're literally always in school. There's no, I mean, there are breaks, but pretty much in the summer you're still in school. Whereas I think in the other programs, the 2 year programs, you do get quite a break in between. Yeah.
Oke. Jadi buat yang teman-teman yang belum tahu ya, jadi kenapa dibilang summer masih itu, karena umumnya tuh kalau summer itu libur, tidak ada
Yeah.
sekolah, kecuali ada summer class, itu lain lagi, tapi umumnya itu summer ya guru-guru itu dapat break gitu, terus mulai lagi di September, kayak gitu. Oke. How much, Kim, for that college? How much?
Ooh.
That range to graduate for the one or the now is become 2 years, right?
Yeah, I would say maybe like 12,000 for that 2 year program. Around like 12 to 15,000, I would say, maybe 18, around that. It's like 1 year. It's like it also depends where you go, but it's kind of like, just think of it like a bachelor's program extended. So it's how much you would pay for a bachelor's program, pretty much how much you would pay for
Okay.
the teacher's college program.
And specifically in Ontario, is quite variety that the teacher college that you can pick, or it's just certain?
In terms of schools or
the school for the teachers?
There's quite a number of schools that you can choose from. One of the reasons why I chose Queens was I wanted to finish quicker because it's 16 months. And I wanted to get a job quicker because once you finish, then it's like faster you apply for jobs and such afterwards. And then the second thing that I loved about the program that I was in was as part of your teacher's college program, you get to go in and do placements at schools, which is amazing because that's when you learn really if you like to teach or not. Because like in a classroom, you're just learning stuff from textbooks and presentations, doesn't teach you how to be in front of students teaching. It's a whole different thing. So The program gives you the opportunity to go into classrooms and actually teach and have a mentor teacher and everything. It's great. What I love about Queens was, one, their placements were in blocks. So I was able to go to school for a certain period of time. Then I was off and I went into schools where I did my placement for a couple of weeks. And then I went back into Queens and I did my program, which is great. In other schools, they do like days. So it'll be like 2 days you're in school teaching, and then 3 days you're learning at university.
Okay.
So that's one thing. I like the blocks better because you get to establish more relationships with the kids because they see you literally every day for weeks. I think it's easier to make connections that way. And then the second thing is Queens offered a program where you can go abroad for one of your placements. So I went to Australia this year, right before the pandemic hit. I got to go, and I went to a school for special needs students, and it was a really, really great experience to do that too.
So that placement is also included in the 16 month that you mentioned.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's part of that 16 month.
Correct.
I
Yes.
see. Wow. And then again, you mentioned about special need, right? I kind of have a feeling probably in the future, your kind of way will be go there, and then I will
I
support you
hope so.
100%.
I don't know wherever I'm called, but I do have I don't know. I have a heart for those kids that I think require a little bit more support and love, and I think sometimes they don't get as much love as they need, so that's why. Yeah.
Okay, this is 1 million question. Everybody like go to back hard to get a job, and then they have to back to school, whatever the career they choose that need to go to school again. And then the question is, if I already take the school, or get the certified, whatever, then it's guarantee I'm gonna get a job in that field. So specifically for the teacher, is there any guarantee after I graduate from the teaching college, and then I will get a job?
I don't know if there is I feel like it's hard to give a 100% guarantee in anything. Even if you ask me about business, once you graduate from business, will you get 100% guarantee you get a job? I think once you get a CPA, there's a much better chance of you getting a job, I think, in my opinion. But I think it also depends on how you interview. That's a big one. What your resume looks like, what your experience looks like. I think putting that all together, if you have experiences, if your resume is great, if you practice in your interview, I think there's a good chance of you getting a job. Also, where do you want your job? Do you want the job here in Ontario? Ontario is a little bit more competitive when it comes to teaching. There's a lot more supply than there is a demand. But with COVID, a little bit different. But in other provinces, there's a lot more need. In BC, a lot more need for teachers. But again, it just depends on where you want to go.
But for your case, after you graduate, you just apply like other people who want to find a job with the school, and then you got accepted. And now you are full-time in where?
So I am doing supply teaching. I am a supply teacher, or they call it occasional teacher, at 2 different school boards. So I'm in Halton and I'm in Peel.
I see. 2 right now still as a supply teacher, yeah?
Yeah.
That's good. It will keep you busy, right?
Yeah, I can't complain. That's for sure. Yeah, it's great.
Okay, if you allowed me to ask this question, maybe a little bit personal and quite deep.
Yeah.
So now you already finished your school and then you got the job. If you look back, all that you say bye, the CPA and even in the government job that much people, like many people, like willing to swipe
Yeah.
for everything to get into that
Mhm.
the government job. So if you look at that,
Yeah.
what's your opinion like? Any regret, or
Do I regret
I
it?
should better do this or do that, or can you share it?
Yeah. Do I regret it? I've been asked that question quite a bit. I ask myself that question too sometimes. Um, I think it depends on I think it depends on where you look at it. For me, my flat out answer is no, I don't regret it. I think when people look into it, if they are thinking about Kim, you could have made so much money, you had such great benefits, um, you had a stable job before, all that stuff. You could have made so much more money, all that stuff. I think if you look at it in that perspective, yeah, I'm sure they would say, yeah, I don't know if you made the right decision. For me, again, it's not about the money so much. For me, it's about, do I love what I do? Do I find that I am adding value into the world? Do I feel like I am in a place where God has called me to be? And I think looking back, I think definitely I'm at the place where I am definitely a lot happier. I think business is great and I learned a lot, but that was pretty stressful too. And I don't know if my personality long term would match that world, and also stress levels and everything. Like, I don't know if physically and mentally it would have been good for me to stay in that position. And now I love going into schools. I love, like, don't get me wrong, there are hard days for sure.
Mhm.
Still, it's very stressful sometimes. Sometimes the kids, like, are not having a great day, so things are stressful for you. Different stress, but I definitely love what I do now. So I look back and I don't say I regret switching
Okay,
at all.
good, good for you. And yeah, good for you. Okay,
Yeah.
if that we look back, how about we look in the future now?
Mhm.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. As I
Yeah.
know, as a teacher, they said when you start, it's very difficult because there is a seniority and
Mhm.
etc. etc. So,
Mhm.
as you mentioned, you already as a supply teacher. What's your
Mhm.
goal for the next? Like, what you can see in the future in terms of the like the position?
Oh, like what I would be doing.
Mm.
Um, well, I see myself teaching in a classroom for a while. Am I going to do that for the rest of my career? I don't know. Again, I love working with kids with special needs. I would love to work in that field, whether that be in a special education classroom, or maybe I can be more of a consultant going from school to school. Um, could be something like that. I have considered going back to school and getting my master's in the field of education somewhere, maybe special education as well. So I don't know, like, really far in the future, but in the immediate future, I would love to have my own classroom one day. Yes.
Ah, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Before I move on to the next question, I just want to wrap up what we already
Yeah.
talked so far
Yeah.
in Indonesia, yeah.
Sure.
And
Go for it.
anytime, interrupt me if I concluded
Okay.
in the wrong
Okay.
perspektif or
Yeah.
idea. Jadi, teman-teman ya, Kimi ini memang seperti saya mention di awal tadi, dia itu growing up-nya di sini ya, lahir di Indonesia tapi growing up di sini, dan ya dia seperti anak-anak yang besar di sini bersekolah ke university, dan dia waktu awal-awal itu di bisnis dalam artian ya kerja sebagai accounting. Dan kalau kalian nonton video dengan saya dengan Darwin yang di Profesi juga, Darwin itu kan accounting dan dia sekarang lagi sambil belajar juga untuk mendapatkan CPA. CPA itu adalah Certified Accountant yang harus kita punya kalau kita mau kerja sebagai accountant di Kanada ini ya. Dan itu cukup sulit untuk didapat karena sebelum ngambil CPA-nya sendiri aja udah harus ada kayak persyaratan apakah bisa eligible. Nah, begitu sudah eligible masuk sekolahnya pun tidak mudah dan biayanya juga tinggi. Nah, Kimi ini tuh udah lulus semua, dia juga kerja di uh,
Ernst and Young.
auditor ya,
Yep.
di auditor dan bahkan juga yang terakhir itu di government. Itu tuh dream job lah kalau dibilang kalau kamu misalnya ada di bidang accounting ya itu udah maybe the greatest one lah, udah kamu udah bisa di dalam situ gitu, ya kan? Nah, semua itu sama Kimi itu ditinggalin karena ya itu tadi yang dia share semuanya itu bagus, dia juga suka ya bidang bisnis itu, kalau enggak ya nggak mungkin dia bisa berhasil sampai seperti itu ya. Tapi di dalam hatinya tuh ada panggilan, pengen dari dulu tuh pengen ngajar dan mungkin dia juga merasa ada bakat di situ, ada passion juga di situ, tapi kan selama ini mungkin ragu-ragu ya, mending secure dulu apa yang mungkin itu juga ada influence dari orang tua juga, orang-orang lingkungan, sosial yang, oh you have to be in business, atau dapat dulu yang secure sebelum you follow your passion. Mungkin ada influence seperti itu, tapi akhirnya dia udah beres, dan dia sempat volunteer di China waktu itu 2 mingguan untuk anak-anak special need, disitulah baru dia mungkin mantep gitu, maksudnya, yes, this is what I'm gonna do, I will start to plan it. Jadi dia kemudian benar-benar resign ya semuanya, kemudian masuk ke teacher college dalam 16 bulan. Di dalam 16 bulan ini selain belajar di kelas, dia juga praktek dan sempat praktek di Australia. Little bit sebelum lockdown. Ya, little bit. Dan sekarang udah lulus dan juga sudah keterima kerja di 2 sekolah sebagai substitute teacher. Ya, dan kita berharap ke depannya nanti dia bisa makin maju lagi dan seperti yang dia cita-citakan ya, mengajar anak-anak kecil dan memberi value more ya ke generasi ini yang akan datang, ini termasuk anak saya ini ya.
Yes.
Okay, Kim. Now, can you tell us, even though not that long ya in the teacher field, sudah ada suka dukanya belum? Maybe we already talked quite a bit about the suka ya, like the positive thing because this is what you want, and then it's so enjoyable to teach the kid, and then when you like you mentioned before, when their eyes spark when you teach them something new, they're excited. That's I can understand because we also Sunday school teacher, right?
Yeah.
I can get a little bit hint over there, but ya the duka ada nggak dukanya ya?
I think definitely the process of getting a full-time your own classroom, it's challenging. That's it takes time. Again, you mentioned like seniority and all of that. That definitely plays a factor in there. So that, and then I think it's also not like these are not your kids too, right? They're from so many different places and you're only there for that day and then they go home to their own families, and sometimes you want to try to help them, but you can only do so much because you're just their teacher. You're not there every single day, you're not there during the weekend. So I think remembering that you can try your best as a teacher, but sometimes like your best is all that you can give to this student. Sometimes that's hard. Sometimes you wish you can help more, and then also right now I'm supplying, so I don't see the same students every day. I am lucky that in one of the boards that I'm at, I go to only 2 schools, so the kids actually know who I am. They see my face a lot around the school, so they know my name, and all that stuff, which is great. But you're not in the classroom as their teacher, so it's hard to make really strong connections with students when you are not there every single day. So I think that's hard as a supply teacher. But yeah, I mean, right now I've only been teaching for a short amount of time, so
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more, but you know.
But for 2021 is already announced that the kids gonna stay online at least for 1 week, yeah. But I have a feeling as a I want to cry. I have a feeling they're gonna extend it
Yeah,
this online. So from the teacher's perspective, what do you think?
online is hard. It's hard. I I think I personally don't have experience as a teacher online, but as a student online, because I had to do some of my teachers college online, it is quite difficult to stay in your seat listening on Zoom or whatever it is, for long periods of time. I think it like as a teacher right now too, like going in person is so different than like face to face is obviously so different than virtual, right? So I think it's definitely a challenge, and I 100% respect all the teachers that have been virtually teaching since um last, I don't know, I don't know, since a while back. So I think that will be definitely challenging, but we've adapted to so many things. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
hopefully ya.
yeah,
Oke, Kim. As you know, penonton Indo di Toronto ini
yeah.
I would say 50-50% ya. So 50% they are still in Indonesia.
Okay.
So, do you have any tips for teman-teman yang ingin atau on the way, they're in the
Yeah.
process to migrate to Canada, and if they have a teacher background, so you already in the field, you already pass all the process. What's tips yang kamu bisa bagikan untuk ke mereka? Does the experience in Indonesia will benefit them when they want to pursue this career?
I think yes, because any experience with teaching is great on your resume. Um, I think you should look into okay, as a teacher in Ontario, um, more likely than not, you would have to take some courses or something. I'm not 100% sure how it works from international, but I'm sure you have to take something in order for you to transfer your certification here. If not, you might have to take more school and go to teachers college. So that's the first thing that my advice would be, to research that, and how, if it is it possible to transfer my teaching certificate in Indonesia to bring it to Canada and Ontario. In some provinces, it might be easier. Ontario, because our teaching certificate is pretty, I wouldn't say prestigious, but you can take our certificate and go abroad and teach with it, which is great. Like if I wanted to go to Australia, I just need to I think, fill out some forms, and you can kind of transfer over my Ontario license into an Australian equivalent license.
I see.
But from other countries to Ontario, I think that might be a little bit more difficult. So, one, I would definitely research that. Two, I say get experience in here as much as you can. And that means like tutoring, like working at Kumon, working anything with children related to that will give you, I think, uh, an edge in your resume. And then that would be the next thing. Your resume is important, not the most important, but pretty important in the process of getting a job. So make sure that your resume is up to date and it has all the necessary details in there. And then last, it's well, maybe not last. Find some people here that can mentor you. I think mentors are great,
Mhm.
asking questions about how the process works. I think that helps. And then the last thing is interviewing. I think interviewing is a really important thing here. So getting practice on how to answer questions, what you think they want, you like what they want to hear. I think it's really important. I in business too, like interviews were really important and how you make impressions with the
Yeah.
other, the recruiters and whoever's interviewing you. And I think it goes the same for teaching as well. The interview is quite important as well. So
I see. Jadi sebenarnya sama aja ya, maksudnya in term of how to get the job itu tuh sebenarnya sama aja ya, bukan berarti karena ini teaching, jadi as long as you punya sertifikat mengajar, kemudian ya udah langsung diterima. Nggak selalu harus seperti itu ya. Jadi benar-benar depend on the recruiter waktu lagi interview tuh match nggak ini ya, mereka suka nggak?
I think that definitely has a factor, but your resume, that all plays a factor in there too. And then the other thing is, sometimes they ask for references here, right, for your interviews. So you need to make sure that you have references, especially teaching references, that will say, hey, this person, I've seen them teach and they're great in this, and this, and this. So I think that is really important to have too, those references.
But that's also most important information that you give us, that Ontario teaching certificate is have a value for other country.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's why I think, they changed it to 2 years. Like, it, like, there's a lot of demand here. Because teachers are extremely valuable. And like one of the things that I would like to add to as a benefit is, being a teacher. Like, yes, I said, like, it's not about the money. Like, I think if you're comparing to business, like, if you want to make money, go to business. That's what I would say. Like, teach, like, you're not in the teaching profession to make money. That's for sure. But one of the perks is, the benefits I've heard is great as a teacher. So I mean, you get 2 months off in the summer, off in the summer, even though you're preparing for next year. But you do still have some time in the summer, which is not the same for any other profession, right?
Yep.
Where you have that little break of time too. So yeah.
Okay, that's so far so wonderful information. Now you make me thinking about go to teacher college teaching.
I
Dan
mean,
and hopefully ya, orang-orang yang nonton video ini ya, bagusnya yang orangnya sudah ada di sini ya. Dan kalau memang mau ada keinginan untuk mengajar, ini pasti informasinya useful sekali ya. Jadi sudah tahu berapa lama kira-kira waktu yang akan dihabiskan untuk sekolah, kemudian juga kira-kira biayanya, dan apa ini ya yang harus dikerjakan ketika setelah lulus gitu. Ternyata sama aja, sama kayak mencari pekerjaan yang lain, jadi mesti di-prepare sebaik-baiknya supaya bisa mendapatkan pekerjaan. Okay, my last question ya,
okay.
because this related to your situation. Jadi
Okay.
untuk orang yang not graduate from uni or fresh graduate gitu ya, benar-benar just people like me for example ya, because most likely Indonesian that migrate to here, they not just fresh graduate and then move here, right? They already maybe in their 30s or even in their 40, and then if they want to go to the as become a teacher, what your suggestion for them?
If that's what you want to do,
Yeah.
you should 100% do it. Because when I was in teachers college, I had a lot of friends who actually moved, and they're older than me, that moved from
whatever career ya, whatever career.
I know engineers, I know people in business, I know people who worked as a chef, I'm just thinking about, there's so many different professions that people, nurses, there's so many different people from so many different backgrounds that decided that they want to go into teaching. So um, it is definitely doable. There's so many people that have done it, but I would just say um, make sure that you know this is something you want to do, because um, you like I don't think you know what it's like to teach until you're in a classroom teaching. So if you can get any experience with that, I say do that. Volunteer, like you can volunteer. That's another thing that I would say. In the school boards, you can sometimes volunteer as like a lunchroom supervisor that goes in, or maybe it depends on the schools too. You can go in and volunteer at the library maybe, or whatever the school needs. I say if you are interested in becoming a teacher and thinking of switching careers, um, if you've never been in a classroom, if you've never been in a school here, volunteer if you can, because being in a classroom is very different than just being taught what it's like being in a classroom. When you have 25 or 30 students in front of you and you have to manage them in that classroom environment, teach them, it is so completely different. So I say make sure you know what you're getting into, but at the same time, if that's what you want to do, there's so many people that have done it. And a lot of my friends are actually what they call, like me, a mature student. So I've done other things and then I went back into school. I have a lot of friends that I made in university when I went to teachers college that were like that too. So, and they love what they do now,
Ya, ya.
teaching.
Oke,
Yeah.
jadi belum terlambat ya teman-teman kalau kalian ternyata sudah berkarir di bidang apapun itu, kemudian memang karena itu udah panggilan kamu, udah kamu pikir lama cuman belum berani ya dengan berbagai pertimbangan, ternyata seperti Kimi cerita di teacher college itu banyak juga orang-orang yang seperti dia dan, kalian-kalian ini yang sudah berkecimpung di profesi yang lain kemudian oke, now switch career mau jadi guru. And if you allowed me to add one more thing,
Yeah.
I think ya, people that choose teacher as the profession ya, they have to really think about it. Like you said, that's if you looking for the money, maybe
Not for
that's not
you.
the field.
No.
Mungkin bayarannya bagus, benefitnya bagus, but it takes time ya.
Oh yeah.
It takes time. So immediate like success, maybe not. And because you're dealing with the kids, like the human for the next generation, please don't do it just for the sake of money because that's not gonna last long and then you maybe get irritated very quickly, you don't have that patience and then you're gonna ruin this kid. Please don't do that. Ya, harus
Yeah,
yang
for sure.
benar-benar mantap ya, ada passion juga, ada sesuatu yang push you, that motivate you gitu loh. Jadi when you become a teacher, you become a not just as a job but you want to bring everything, the good thing that you can to this kid gitu loh. Agree
Yeah.
nggak, Kim?
No, I agree. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I switched. I think when I was in business, I don't feel like I was putting 100% of what not what I can do, but like my everything into the job. And like, I loved it so much. And and I think that takes away from your job. You don't want to go in and not be happy, and and it's not like that for everybody, but I'm saying if you can work in a situation where you are able to do something that you really like to do and you have passion for, I think, yeah, I think you should do it.
Yeah, but maybe what we have to, because we doesn't want to give the false information, right? Like, oh, this is so good, this is my passion, and then I just jump in gitu. Maybe we have to think about like Kimi. I believe Kimi, uh, she already can project, right? The money that she gonna earn, not as much as previous one, right? So maybe dia harus saving dulu, nggak membabi buta kemudian just forget everything. Pasti ada plan yang harus dipersiapkan. Jadi teman-teman juga jangan sembarangan karena ya inilah kata Yutat nih, kata Kimi nih, harus follow.
No, I think you have to think about, is it realistic? Like, for me, like, is it realistic in the future that I will get a job as a teacher? Is it realistic for me to go back to school? Do I have the money for it? When I was working, I didn't, like, when I went to China, after that, I worked for a couple more years too, because I know that I was going to go into school. And if I was moving away from home, which I had to do, I can't just move without thinking about, how am I going to finance my school? How am I going to rent an apartment? How am I going to get food? Like, those things are important. And then it's the afterwards. Is it possible? Am I going to get a job? If it's not possible, where am I going to go next? Is there a possible, like, where are the other possibilities? These are things that, like, I think about. And what you said was right. Like, it's great that you're passionate about something, but you have to think about it, because I thought about it many, many times over years. And then there are times when I'm like, I don't know if that's a good idea. Like, I'm in a job where I have a stable career. I'm, all this stuff. Is it reasonable for me to go? So there was a lot of decision making in that too. So yeah, don't go into switching careers
without planning.
It's not like the decisions are not like this. So you have to think about it too.
Yeah. But teaching definitely one of the job that people usually said, find the job that in Indonesia manusia memanusiakan manusia.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that? Manusia memanusiakan manusia? Yeah, something like that, right? So for the people like into that kind of philosophy, mengajar itu udah pasti karena kamu memberi nilai tambah untuk anak-anak yang kalian didik gitu.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Dan
it's a huge responsibility too. That
pekerjaan yang mulia, Kim. Kalau in Indonesia we said itu pekerjaan yang mulia, like a doctor, like you have to look after, right? So thank you so much, Kim, for your time. It's such a pleasure to have you in this channel and share your experience specifically dalam mengajar. Kita thank you banget.
Anytime.
Dan hopefully teman-teman yang di sini setelah menonton ini mendapat nilai tambah ya. Ada sesuatu yang bisa dipelajari dari pengalamannya Kimi. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe if you not yet. Ya teman-teman, dan kita jumpa lagi nanti di episode yang lain. Saya akan tampilkan banyak lagi profesi-profesi yang ada dilakukan oleh orang Indonesia di Kanada. Oke, bye.